Hello everybody, today I'm doing a Marvel Rivals tier list video for the Heroes in Grandmaster competitive play. So starting us off, we have Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger is one of the best healers, and I think I'm going to put her in an S or close to S+. I'm not going to put her in S+, but she's in S right now, especially with her buff that she gets one extra little spin during her ultimate. Her healing output is amazing. She can make the team invulnerable for a split moment, which will help with so many ultimates. She can save her team from an Iron Man ult, Scarlet Witch ult. Her ultimate does so much damage and healing output, it makes it so the enemy team cannot touch an area really without having to have their own counter healer push. She's just a great healer to have on your team because of the damage output she can do and the healing output she can manage, and the fact that she can save your team by building her ultimate pretty much every team fight. You should have your ultimate every team fight if you're playing Cloak and Dagger correctly, and you can save your team so many times. Alright, so next up we got Wolverine. Now I love Wolverine, but there's so many people who play him and don't understand how to play him. I'm going to put him... It's hard to put him in S. I want to put him in S, but I'm going to keep him in A because he has so much utility as a tank buster. He can do so much damage all at once. He can pull enemy tanks and healers from their backline into your team, making them easier to kill. He can build his ultimate in 30 seconds if you play him correctly. If you play him correctly, you should never die because of the passive you get where you get extra health when you get all that armor buff. However, he has a pretty high skill gap compared to a lot of the other DPS, and it's definitely thrown a good few of my matches having someone play Wolverine and not knowing how to play him and just dying over and over and not targeting the correct people. So I'm going to keep him in A. I might change my mind later, but I think that's a good spot for him. Alright, next up we got Venom. So Venom's a hard choice. While he is a cool tank, he has a lot of survivability, and he fits into quite a few team comps. His damage output is just not great, and his ultimate really doesn't do much to help anyone but him. So I'm going to put him in B, kind of leaning towards C. I really wish that hold ability he had with his left trigger, I'm not sure what it's called, so I can't list it right now, but I really wish that ability actually held people in place. It's cool that it can attack everyone around you, but it would be so cool if it actually held someone within range of you so they couldn't escape from you for that moment, because that would fit his character, and it would make his character a lot easier to play. Whenever I hear that there's a Venom diving my backline, attacking the healers, that is probably the one time I don't immediately go to help, because he doesn't do that much damage, and he really can't do much against healers and stuff. He's more of a distraction, and while he works great for that, the damage output he does isn't great, and the team has to make up for what he's lacking. It is great how long you can survive with him. The fact that you can get so much shield from his ultimate and just that ability he has is amazing, and being able to swing away when you're low health and come back is great. I think he's good for objective game modes like the domination, not so much payload. He's really good at contesting for long amounts of time, but the damage output is not there. Okay, so next is Thor. I like playing Thor a lot, and I think he is a great pick. It's kind of between S and A. I think I'm going to keep him in S, trying to keep my bias away, even though I like to play him and he is a lot of fun. I'm keeping him in S because of how much survivability he has, and he's kind of just like a better Venom, kind of. If you play him correctly, you should be moving in on the enemy healers all the time, and when you push through the enemy tank line and onto the enemy healers, you are just causing mayhem even if you aren't killing the healers, because you are splitting up the team. The tanks don't know if they should come back and help. The DPS often don't pay attention to you because it's like, oh, this is a tank's job. And the amount of damage output he can do with the Thor Force is really cool. It's amazing how much damage he can do with the Awakening rune. Pretty sure that's what it's called, where he starts shooting the lightning bolts. The reason I almost want to put him in A is because his ultimate is not very good. It's so slow, it's so easy to get out of. It's really, you need to be spatially aware, you need to make sure the environment's not going to fuck you over. You need to make sure that who you're landing on isn't going to survive it easily. If there's so much as one healer ultimate going off, you probably won't kill anyone with it. So that's the reason that I almost have him in A and might end up moving him to A. Alright, next up we got Punisher. Now, I got a lot of mixed feelings about Punisher, because while he is a great character, he is one of the biggest lore for people who don't know how to play DPS, because he's easy, but somehow people just don't understand how to utilize this easy character. I'm gonna put him in A, leaning towards B. I might put him in B. I'll keep him in A for now. I might change my mind. So let me explain. His damage output is there. It's good. It's crazy good. The turret is super useful, but every time I play against one, it's very easy to counter. As long as you and your team know not to walk in front of the Punisher turret and take it out from a distance or get behind it, it's very easy to deal with that way. He doesn't stand much of a chance in like a one-on-one fight with someone else. Yeah, he has his smoke bomb, he can get away that way, and the zipline. However, his up-close and personal damage is not that much. The shotgun's good, but it's not fast enough compared to a lot of the other DPS who would destroy him in a close battle like that. His ultimate is great, the damage output is crazy, but he has to play so passively with it. He can't just run out in front of the enemy team because he will die. So many times I see Punisher get so confident, walk right in front of us and die, or Loki copy a Punisher and just assume that they get all this extra health and defense, but you don't. You're still as weak as you are just without it. Just you do good damage, but you don't have good defense. So if you are playing Punisher, please play your corners, ultimate from those corners, from high ground, behind your team. Do not assume that you are the almighty and that you can take the enemy team by yourself. Because you can't. You will not. Okay. Next up we have Storm. I've been seeing a lot more Storms since she got the, I think she has 10% damage buff right now. The best thing about Storm is her ultimate. Her ultimate does really good damage. She can place it wherever she wants, and it's so difficult to kill her out of it. However, besides that, I don't think she's that good. The only time she does good is when the DPS don't pay attention and don't shoot her out of the sky, because she is a flying character, but she's very slow. She flies through the air super slow, so if you have any kind of hit scan, it's really easy to just take her out of the sky because of how slowly she has to move around the map. If you are playing her, play high corners, somewhere where you can hide yourself. Use the third person to your advantage so you can see what's coming around the corner. Stay in your lightning mode most of the time because your damage increases that way. Use your whirlwind to get back to the team fight faster or to get away faster, and then place your ultimate on the healers in the back line. And be confident with your ultimate. It's very hard to kill a Storm out of her ultimate. It can happen, but not very often. But I'm keeping her in B with the potential to move down to C. In fact, I'm putting her in C. And I'm moving Punisher down to B. I've been thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't like Storm that much. I don't like having one on my team that often. They do good when the enemy team doesn't counter them. As soon as you have one DPS trying to counter you as Storm, you're pretty fucked. So, yeah, just keep that in mind if you're ever trying to play Storm. Alright. The fuck? Oh. Starlord. That image is so, like, shrunken, I couldn't tell who it was. Next up, we got Starlord. I like Starlord. I think he's good to have. It's like Tracer from Overwatch, but better because he can do headshot damage and he can turn invulnerable for a moment. Starlord is great because he shoots really fast, he reloads really fast. He does good damage at range. He does not have that much of a drop-off range, which is pretty crazy considering the character he is, because the closest comparison I have to him is like Tracer from Overwatch, who you had to point blank with to do any kind of damage. Not with him. He can shoot from pretty far away, and he can still do headshot multipliers, which is pretty crazy. He can do that little dash to make himself invulnerable. You can avoid just about any ultimate, any of the insta-kill ultimates that way. He can fly. Right now, you can do I don't know if it's so much a glitch, quote unquote, with his ultimate where you can skip the first 2 seconds of the startup ultimate where he does the little legendary animation and you can just start shooting immediately, which gives you even more time in his ultimate. And his ultimate is just aimbot. His ultimate's great. He has one of the best ultimates in the game because all you have to do is get behind the enemies and keep yourself in some kind of cover and just shoot the healers and then you win. And what's even better with him is when you combo with an Adam Warlock, you can get that revive, and you can be one of the fastest DPS back to a team fight when you die. Excuse me, sorry, because you get that cocoon revive. So for that reason, I am putting him, let me move him, in, I don't know, it's a hard pick between A and S. I think I'm going to put him in S. I think it's my first DPS in S. Not saying he's an easy character. I still see so many people throw with him and don't know how to play him. But when you know how to play him, it's definitely an S for that reason. Anything good? Alright, next up, I got fucking Squirrel Girl. Now I am so tired of trying to rank up and having a Squirrel Girl that's like 7 and 14 on my team. Squirrel Girl is okay. She's mid at best. I'm going to put her in C, because she's not better than Punisher, that's for sure. She might be slightly better than Storm, I don't know. You can build her ultimates very fast as her if you're playing her correctly. She is more, I don't know how you'd say it, cannon fire type character who just provides damage from behind the team into the general team fight section. The stun she has is really good. She can stun someone for like a full second roughly, which leaves open a lot of opportunity if you stun a tank, if you stun a shield tank like Doctor Strange and just melt him. So she's great for that. She has a lot of mobility with that jump. However, her ultimate is so minor that you can kill it. A lot of people don't know that you can kill it. You can pretty easily kill the Squirrel Stampede, and she only really does great at defending against team fights. It's like she can't do much against an Iron Man or a Storm. You might get that occasional hit off, but her shots are just too difficult to aim. The projectiles move too slowly and they lob. So she's really only good against targeting tanks and the DPS that are playing like main ground. Well, she is usable. I'm putting her in a C because she's just pretty meh, in my opinion. Alright, next up we got Spider-Man. Spider-Man is another one of those characters that I'm tired of seeing throw my games, but he is a really good character if you can play him correctly. I'm debating between a B and an A. I'm gonna put him in A right now because if you are a fucking monster and you know how that movement works and you can do those crazy swings and those crazy pulls where you just launch someone off the map, he's great for that reason. If you play him correctly, you shouldn't really die ever because it's so easy to get away as him. When you're playing him, you should just be a nuisance. You should just be jumping on the healers and just walloping them and running away before the DPS and the tanks do anything about you. His ultimate's good. It's really good to combo with something else because of the stun factor to it. But yeah, I'm keeping him in an A because he is a very good character. He's like Wolverine. He has such a high skill gap. I think he has the highest skill gap in the game because he's such a small, weak, frail character, but he does a lot of damage and he can be really good if you play him correctly. If you don't know how to play Spider-Man, practice and quick play in the firing range before you should feel 100% confident, I can do this, I can play Spider-Man before you play him in ranked. Because if you don't, you're probably throwing your team's elo. Okay. I had some technical issues. My OBS kind of took a shit on me. I was in the middle of putting Scarlet Witch in C tier because of, I'm just gonna run through it again really quickly here. So she has really good, cooldowns, really good abilities. She has 2 really runaway invisibility modes where she's completely invulnerable while she's doing it. She doesn't have to aim her shots. She has those quick stuns that if you're standing in that circle, it'll stun. However, her damage is so lackluster, and her ultimate, while it can team wipe, insta-kill the team, it's so easy to counter because she moves so slowly. She's the loudest ultimate in the game. Like, it is so hard not to notice it. Has a giant, exclamation point marking it. If you are using her and trying to use her ultimate well, I would combo with a Doctor Strange portal, or really, really try to play those corners well. That's what most Scarlet Witch players do. However, usually it's just too easy to die out of it or to get blocked by Doctor Strange or Groot or Magneto, whatever. If you are playing her in ranked, I would suggest you stop. If you really want to play someone with that no aiming, play Cloak and Dagger. But don't just be one of those dudes that sits in a damage mode the whole time. I would highly suggest you find a different DPS to play in ranked, but she is fun to play. If you make it work, then good for you. This is just my suggestion. Next up we got Rocket the Raccoon. So, this is tough. I like Rocket, and I'm just putting him there for now. I like Rocket, and he's a good character. He's a really good support. However, his heals need to be comboed with someone else that can do a lot of healing. He cannot solo heal. He doesn't do enough heals for that output. His damage is pretty decent, but the best part about him is for certain the revive and his ultimate. The damage buff that it gives is huge. It helps a lot. It's really hard to kill that damage buff thing. So it's not even worth trying. If there's one on the enemy team, just play careful whenever it shows up and just wait for it to disappear. It's not even worth trying to destroy. And then if you are playing against a Rocket, always look for that revive thing to destroy it before you kill anybody, because it revives them at full health, unlike Warlock's revive, who brings them back at 10 HP. And yes, while it only revives one person and it's like a 35-second cooldown, it's still a huge revive. You can bring a tank back, you can bring the other healer back. He's a great character for that, but his healing is not the best. He is a support character at best. He is the definition of a support character. While he's not the greatest healer, he makes up for it in the revive factor and the damage buff factor. So I'm going to put him in A tier. Okay, next up we got Psylocke. So Psylocke is a good DPS. She has a lot of movement. Her damage is good, and she has a really good ultimate. So she is best at jumping in, focusing a healer, a DPS, and getting out when she needs to. Her ultimate is very easy to use, and it's hard to counter because of how fast she moves. The easiest thing to do is to just get away from it, because it is so difficult to hit her when she's in her ultimate because of how much she spins around. I want to put her in A, but her damage I don't think is enough, so I'm going to keep her in B, and she is still really easily counterable if you can land your shots, because her movement isn't that crazy. The dash and the invisibility are nice, but you can still hit her out of those things, or right after them, or right after she uses them, sorry. And her ultimate is usually very easy to see it coming. She usually makes it very obvious. If you are playing her, I would suggest playing behind the healers when you go to use your ultimate. Make sure you are not seen flanking around, and just all on the healers or on a DPS that's giving your team trouble. Don't focus the high health characters. But I'm keeping her in B because her damage is not crazy. Okay, next up we have Penny Parker. So I don't like playing Penny, but she's really good. And when I have to, I play her because she's really good. I am putting Penny in S tier, close to S+, honestly. because she has a 3-second stun cooldown. That stun can cancel Iron Man ultimates, Scarlet Witch ultimates. If you do it just right, you can cancel another Penni ultimate. You can cancel a little Snow ultimate. And it's a 3-second cooldown. So what you should be doing is using that constantly when you're fighting someone. If there's a tank that's giving you trouble, and you're playing Penni, if there's a tank that's aggressively pushing you, stun him constantly with that. Her spider drones are huge. The fact that you can make their area even wider by using your both your spider webs is huge. A thing that most people don't know is you can hide mines inside her spider web, like her left trigger and her B button. I'm not sure what they're called. You can hide spider mines inside of them, and a lot of people don't even think that. They just run right across your web, and all of a sudden they get blasted by a spider mine that they didn't even see. You can't see it as an enemy. So if there's an enemy Penni on the enemy team, do not run across those spider webs, because there can be mines filled with them. And the mines do crazy damage. It takes like 2 to kill a healer, like a 200 health character. Her ultimate is great. It does so much damage with the mines, and it just immediately pushes them off a point. If you and your whole team are struggling at keeping them off the payload or the domination, just use your ultimate. You get it so fast. You should get it every single team fight. And just spam your both abilities. Throw mines everywhere and constantly be swinging, trying to hit people. It's really not made to team wipe as much as it is to give your team an opportunity to get some more kills and to get the enemy team off the payload and the objective. You know, now that I'm talking about her, I am putting her in S+. She's just a great character. She's busted right now. She's completely broken. If for nothing else, just that stun she has. A 3-second stun is crazy. A 3-second cooldown on stun is insane. Next is Namor. So Namor's better than a lot of people think. He is another one of those characters that's pretty high skill gap, but his damage is really good, and he gets those spears pretty often. He has a very high rate of fire, and his headshot damage is pretty damn good. I think he can 2-shot healer. Don't take my word for that, I could be wrong, but nonetheless, he also has the denizens of the deep that auto aim and do all that damage for him. They have a lot of range, surprisingly, for what they are. They do decay. Thank God, it would be busted if they stayed. But when you partner with Luna Snow, you even get that third one, which freezes and does even more damage and has more health. He's a great character to partner with Luna Snow. His ultimate is kind of meh, but you can charge it pretty often, and it's good just to use in a team fight because it can stun the enemy team's tanks and all that. Just use it on people who have low mobility and you know will get hit by it. Don't use it on someone who can dash out of it very easily. But he is a great character. Honestly, I'm putting him in A. Close to S. I might put him in S. I'll keep him in A for now, but he's a great character if you like him. You know, learn how to play him better. You can always get better with him. And yeah, he's a great defense character. I wouldn't use him so much on attack, but he can still work on attack. It's just kind of risky, but he's great for domination and defense payloads. Alright, next up we got Moonight. Now, if you're a Moonight player, you know what I'm going to say. Got him plenty of slander, I'm sure, like Moonight. But he's a very, very, very low skill character. And having high skill on him makes him even better. However, there isn't really a skill gap, and being better at him doesn't help that much. He's still a good character. I put him at B just for a placeholder, but I think I'm going to keep him there. Because while he does great damage with the onks, and he doesn't have to aim when he throws an onk down, the onks are so easily destroyed, and if anyone on the enemy team knows to counter you, then they will destroy your onks right away, and they will see where your shots are coming from. They will know how to target you, and you will be targeted. The best part about him is his ultimate, but even though his ultimate is very easily avoidable, it definitely does work in a lot of situations, but it's pretty easily avoidable. He's a decent character. I think he's okay. His combo with Cloak and Dagger, how he can turn invisible, is very helpful. But even then, you know he's inside that bubble because the bubble is very large and obvious. So if you can't see him, he's obviously inside that bubble, and you can still probably hit him. I'm keeping him at B because he's just a very meh character. I would suggest him on defense, particularly payload defense matches. But if you are not doing anything as him, please switch off. Know when to switch. If you have 4 kills and you are 5 minutes into the game, please switch off. Play someone else. Man, I haven't done this much talking all at once. My throat's starting to get sore. Okay. Next up we have Mantis. Mantis is a great healer. She does a lot of solo healing, but she still needs that little bit of help. You obviously cannot solo heal. I don't think you can or should solo heal with anybody in the game. I think you should always have 2 healers. Excuse me, sorry. But she's great because she has that sedate where she can put someone to sleep and make them an easy target, or if she's getting dived by someone in particular and she can hit them with that, it's great because the enemy team can come back and get them. It's just like Ana with her sleep dart from Overwatch. She can damage buff herself, her team. That damage buff is crazy. It is so helpful if you know when and where to place it on who. So many times I've been playing Thor or someone, getting that damage buff is just insane. Like, it makes such a difference. Even on Captain or Doctor Strange, it's insane. And her ultimate is great because it's like Lucio's ultimate from Overwatch, where she gives a bunch of heals. And it's just one of those great defensive ultimates that you should always try to have and always use when you hear that enemy ult spam coming in. She holds her own pretty well. She does good headshot damage. She has a decently high skill gap, I will say. I don't think she's that crazy high to learn how to play, but nonetheless, if you haven't played her before, you're not going to do as good as someone who knows a little bit on how to play her. I want to put her in S, but compared to Cloak and Dagger, I don't think she's as good as Cloak and Dagger, so I'm keeping her in A. Maybe potential to move up, maybe to an S, maybe Cloak and Dagger to an S+. We'll see. Alright, next up we got Magneto. So, I like Magneto, he's cool, and I think he's fun to play, but he, you definitely don't want to solo tank with him, and you don't do enough damage on your own to warrant solo tanking or you being the damaging tank. I was just running him with someone like Thor, especially on attack, and comboing him with a Scarlet Witch makes him so much better. However, you have to have a Scarlet Witch on your team when you do that, and that's kind of a throw, especially in those higher ranked matches. So I think you should just run him vanilla with like a Thor, like I said, because Thor is so aggressive and can run in, and you can give those bubbles to your team, which is great. So many times I've been playing against a Magneto, and I'm about to kill someone, then they get a bubble, and I can't kill them. There was one time a Jeff ulted and ate my healers and one of my DPS, and I was about to kill him, and the Magneto bubbled him so he could safely get away. The bubbles are great. It's a lot like Zarya from Overwatch, and I love his bumper ability where he can push enemies back. That's very cool. I like that he can charge that up. His shield is kind of meh. It's mostly used to fall back, maybe get a slight push in, or just to block like a Scarlet Witch or an Iron Man ultimate, because it only stays up for 3 seconds and it doesn't have that much health. But I love his ultimate, especially if they have someone on the enemy team like Punisher or Iron Man, because you can just eat those and just throw them right back at the enemy team. You can build his ultimate pretty quick. Doing it vanilla without anything else doesn't do that much damage. It can be used to get you a little bit of momentum. I would suggest throwing it at those low health characters, obviously, like healers, and if there's a DPS on high ground. But I like him. He's a cool tank, but I don't think he compares to Thor, so I'm going to keep him in A tier right now, close to an S. I'm just keeping him there for now. I might change my mind, we'll see. Okay, next up we have Magic. Magic is a very good character with a pretty low skill. entry. I'm not gonna lie, she's pretty easy to play, and pretty easy to get good with too. I kind of like having a magic on my team when they know what to do. The partner up she can have with Black Panther and I think Psylocke, where they can get that runaway, like dash backwards in time, like Tracer's recall ability. It's really helpful, but her damage is not that crazy. She's good at when she dives the enemy healers, but it's so easy for her to get countered that it's just kind of like, is it worth it? And her ultimate is just like, meh. It reminds me of Genji Blade from Overwatch, but just not as great, because, yeah, the damage just isn't crazy. She's good at killing the healers when they aren't paying attention or when the DPS aren't helping, but besides that, kind of eh. And I have so many people play her in my matches and just get 2 kills and 12 deaths because they play so overconfidently, die over and over, blame the healers, where's my backup, where's my team, it's not my fault. So I'm keeping her in B because she's just kind of a mid-tier, I think. Okay, next up is Luna Snow. Luna Snow is one of the best healers in the game, if not arguably the best. Invisible Woman might be kind of pushing against her for that tier right now. For me, it's hard between an S and an S+. She's a very basic character, she's really easy to learn, but her healing is really good. She gets that Reg Bumper ability where she can heal even faster, and she can freeze enemies, which is like a sleep, but better because they don't wake up. They're guaranteed to stay frozen for a certain amount of time, and you can just keep dealing damage to them without having to worry about interrupting the freeze by dealing damage to them. And then her ultimate, obviously her ultimate, it's almost impossible to die inside her ultimate. It does so much healing, and the speed boost is great, it's helpful. If you're playing her and you all spam the switch, the toggle button, to heal and speed just back and forth, because they do so much each way that it actually doesn't make much of a difference switching it back and forth like that. If you are worried that your team's taking damage still, you can keep it on heals, because the speed isn't that much of a benefit, but you can switch it back and forth and it works. It still works. I'm putting her in S+, because she gets partners up with Jeff and Neymar, which make them better, and that the amount of healing she does with that ultimate, and the fact that she can build that ultimate within like a minute tops, is just insane. She's one of the best healers in the game right now. They probably should nerf her. Will they? Who knows? But when you get to Diamond and higher, when you start banning, she's going to be one of the most banned characters every single game. Next up is Loki. This is a hard pick. So, Loki is a cool character. He can do really good healing and damage, but he has such a high skill gap. It takes a little bit of time to learn how to play him, but when you know how to play him, he works really well. However, you cannot have like a Loki and Adam Warlock, for example. That healing is not going to be enough. You need like a Loki and Luna Snow, Loki and Invisible Woman, Loki and Cloak. He is what you call an off healer, where he is a healer, but he's like Rocket. He's an off healer because he's not expected to do crazy healing. He's expected to be a supportive type. However, that little healing ring he does, where he places it on himself and his clones, is crazy. It does so much damage, you can destroy it, but however, if you have 3 people that are crit in that and you place it right on top of them, they will probably get back to full health almost instantly, which is so helpful. He can turn invisible, that's kind of I would mostly use it just to get back to the objective. And then his ultimate, so he can copy anyone else in the game and use their ultimate, which is obviously good. It's obviously helpful. However, when you do that, say you copy the enemy tank or an enemy DPS to use that ultimate, you are taking one of the most vital roles for your team, which is a healer, away from your team for however long you are going to be alive as this character. And while you can use that ultimate against them, maybe you get that Iron Man team wipe, maybe you get that Thor ultimate, maybe you get that Groot ultimate that wipes everybody, but maybe you don't, and you die, and then your team is left with 1 healer, or that whole time that you're playing that character, your team just has 1 healer. I would suggest, if you are confident, copying someone like Iron Man that can do those insta-kill moves, or if you're not confident, copying Cloak and Dagger is a great character to copy because her ultimate is offensive and defensive. I would suggest copying her above anybody else. Luna Snow is good to copy. Who else? Invisible Woman. Yeah. If you are not confident that you can wipe the enemy team by yourself to make your ultimate that worthwhile, then copy one of the healers to just maximize your healing output and your supportive assistance. So it's hard to put him from. I want to put him in B, but I think I'm gonna keep him in A, just in case my partner is watching, so they don't hate me later. But he is, for some reason, one of those characters that a lot of people like to play, but don't know how to play him. I think it's just because people like Loki and think he's cool, which he is cool. But you need to learn how to play him. Suggest practicing, learn the best spots for your clones. There's so many good spots for your clones, like way up high and whatnot. They're great because they shoot where you're shooting. So having them in multiple different spots is great because it concentrates it all in one spot, but it's all coming from different areas, and it makes it hard for the enemy team to counter. I would suggest playing him on defense payloads and certain domination maps, not all of them. But attack, Loki is difficult to get to work. When you're getting jumped as Loki, obviously, teleport to a clone, or go invisible, or use your healing circle. Don't just use your healing circle to save only yourself. I would do it to save the team most of the time. But yeah, I'm keeping him in A for now. Okay, next up we have Jeff the Land Shark. The cute little shark with legs. I love Jeff the Shark. He's so cute. He's a sweet little fella. But I think he is probably the worst healer in the game. He is so close to being an off healer because his heals just aren't that great. And his ultimate is super cool and works if you know how to use it, and only when you get the right amount of people in your ultimate. If you only get like 1 or 2 people, the enemy team are going to target you, and you can die so easily out of your ultimate. Even though you're so hard to hit as just a little fin, you can still die out of it very easily and just make a waste of your ultimate and get rid of one of your healers for your team. I do love him, but I think I'm putting him in C tier. Potential to move up to B. And let me explain. Because his healing with his trigger, his main form of healing, is okay at best. It kind of rivals Rocket, similar healing outputs. It's pretty good, but it's not that great. And then his bumper for his bubbles are really good. They're cool. They're great that they give speed buff to the team. You can get the team to the fight faster. That's probably the best usage for them. However, the fact that it requires a little bit of consciousness from the person you're trying to heal to get the bubble, most of the time that's not going to happen because they're focused on fighting and trying to stay alive. They're not always going to see the bubble behind them. They're not always going to know you're trying to give them a bubble. The reload for your heals takes a decent amount of time. You know, it feels fast, but it gives the enemy team long enough to utilize your reloads. If I were you and you were playing him, use your bubbles in between your reloads when you have to. Partnering with a Groot works very well. However, when you are partnering with Groot, you can only hit you and your Groot with the bubbles. You cannot hit your team. When you use his ultimate, obviously try to use ledges, and if there is no ledge, use it to separate them from their team. However, don't fuck over your team by doing that. I've had so many Jeffs swallow an Iron Man or a Doctor Strange with his ultimate and run behind us, spit him out over there, and then they just come up behind and ult us, and we're suddenly fighting a 2-front war where we're just stuck in the middle. Be careful with his ultimate. Save it for ledges. I wouldn't play him on payload maps as often. I would play him on domination maps. And I love you, Jeff. But I'm sorry. I'm keeping you in C tier. I'm sorry. Alright. Next up, we got Iron Man. So Iron Man is a great DPS until he gets countered. On his own, I think he's meh, but with the gamma radiation buff with Hulk, I think he is amazing. That right bumper does so much damage, and even just the cluster shots when you power up do a ton of damage to the enemy team when they're all grouped up and pushing. I would suggest playing him on domination and defense payloads when you have the Clintar, that first objective, when you're way up behind them and you can chill up in the air. That's great to use. A lot of the Hydra domination maps where it has just a huge section of free air that you can stand in, those are great to use. However, if the enemy team knows you're doing work, and you probably will as long as you know how to play him, when they know you're doing work, they're going to do everything to counter you. I was playing him one match, I was going, I think 33-2 by the second round of domination, and every single time I came to the fight, the enemy Cloak, the enemy Iron Man, and the enemy Psylocke would all just jump my ass, and I couldn't do much. When that starts happening, you know you have to switch. If you have your ultimate, use it, switch. Do not waste too much time by trying to force something that's not going to work. So, with the gamma radiation buff, he's amazing. However, I'm keeping him in A, close to B, because he is so easily countered by hit scans. It's just that people don't do it for some reason. So many people don't think to play a hit scan to counter the Iron Man, they just ignore him. So many DPS don't pay attention to Iron Man. If you're playing DPS and the enemy team has an Iron Man, kill him, please. And if your DPS aren't doing it and you're playing tank or healer, fuck it, do it yourself. If you're playing Doctor Strange, fly up to him and fucking whip his ass. If you're playing Cloak, use your homing shots to hit him. Just don't let your team die in the process. But do not let that Iron Man get value when he shouldn't be, because he can't. And if you let him do it, he will. But he's a great character, and I love Tony Stark. He's funny, so I'm keeping him in A. Next up, we have the Hulk. S+. Hear me out. Okay, so I don't even play Hulk. My buddy Nathan normally plays Hulk, but he is amazing because of his partner-ups. Like I said with Iron Man, he partners up with Iron Man, make him amazing, and he partners up with Doctor Strange to make him even better. Those three on a team make for a great combo. I love that combo so much. And Hulk has so much health. He can do that jump constantly, which makes him harder to hit, and he can catch people out of the sky. He can get to higher ground. He has great movement with that. He can do that stun where he stuns someone. Of course, it only makes it so he can damage them, but nonetheless, they can't do anything for a moment. He has a projectile for being only a melee character, and arguably the best thing about him is that bubble he can put on him and everyone around him, because it just makes it so he can get away for free. When you get weak and you're playing Hulk, oops, I bubbled, jump away. If your teammates are getting jumped, bubble, you're fucked. You ain't killing my team. They're bubbled. And he's one of the best at contesting the objective. He's probably only countered out by Venom, but getting your ultimate, if you are the only one left on the team and you have your ultimate as Hulk, that's going to guarantee your team some time to get back. Use it, even if you can't do much with it. It doesn't do crazy amount of damage. It's kind of like Winston's ultimate from Overwatch, where the best part about it is the health bonus you get. And it's funny that you can slam someone around. But the best part about it is the health bonus and that your cooldowns are better. But I'm putting him in S+, because his damage is great, his health is great, his defense is great, his movement is great, and his ultimate is just so good at contesting for that overtime contest, setting up time for your Doctor Strange, set up a portal, whatever you need. I'm putting him in S+. Next up, we have Hela. So Hela she's a pretty good character. She's a hit scan, which is great, because there's honestly not that many hit scans in the game. Are you stuck? Sorry, cat's stuck. Okay, he's better. So she's a hit scan, and she does huge damage with it too. It's not even like someone like Punisher who has to tickle an Iron Man to death. She can just and kill an Iron Man with 2 headshots. The headshot multiplier on her is great. Her combos are okay. Turning into a bird and flying away is great because she can't die during that, and she can get herself some higher ground. The multiple arrow thing she does is okay because there's still a very small window to hit people with. And then she has the little bomb thing, which is just like, meh, if you aren't landing your shots, you can use it. But the best part about her is the fact that she's a hit scan and her ultimate. Her ultimate, she gets so much health, she places herself in the sky, making it harder to avoid. The things she shoots do tons of damage, and they do splash damage, and she shoots like 10. So if you are playing her, play far back behind the team when you ult and just shoot them and make sure the enemies don't have a way to hide, or get behind the enemy team and do it, because even if you die during your ultimate, you just get put right back to the ground at full health, which is crazy, or whatever health you had before, which is insane, because she gets so much health during her ultimate. The fact that she is not able to die during that and she just gets put back down is insane. I think she should be killable on her ultimate, but that's just me. If you are playing against a Hela, just try and target her before she's able to get that opportunity to ult, or when she does ult, try and shut it down fast, or just hide from it and let your team know to hide. If you're playing someone like Doctor Strange, you can get up in her face with your shield, do it. But besides that, either end it fast or get out of the way, because she can kill you very fast. I'm going to put her in an A tier because her ultimate damage is great. Besides that, she's meh, but being a hit scan automatically gives her some more, a higher rank in my opinion, because there's not that many hit scans in the game. And if you can land your shots with her, she's really good. And she gets that buff where she can, or a team up where she can revive Loki and Thor if she kills someone. Granted, it's kind of a situational thing, but when it happens, you know, I'm sure it's very helpful. Okay, next up we have Hawkeye, who actually just got a bit of a nerf. However, it wasn't that much. I think it was just the minus 10% damage, which doesn't affect him that much. Hawkeye is great because of the headshot damage he can do, and the fact that he makes his arrows charge up to do even more damage. He has that little sonic burst, or whatever it is, that damages everything around the arrow, and he has the melee for when someone's in his face, he can do some damage to them and push them back. He is not best in close quarters fights. He dies pretty fast, and spamming his shots does not work very well. If you can't land his shots, don't play him. You have to be able to charge them, know when to land them and when to shoot them, and who to hit, and you know how to hit heads, obviously. But his ultimate is crazy. The fact that he gets the overcharge where he can shoot the 100 arrows constantly, and he sees the after images, and that's all he has to hit. His ultimate is crazy. If you are playing against an enemy Hawkeye that is good, I would suggest playing Invisible Woman to do her ultimate to counter his, or just hiding, getting out of the way of his ultimate as soon as you can, so your after images do not get hit. I like Hawkeye a lot, and I think he's a great character. I am going to put him in S tier because of the amount of damage he can output. However, he has such a high skill gap. If you can't land your shots, don't play him. He takes some practice, but he's still a great character. Alright, we still don't have an F yet. I wonder if we're going to have an F. I think we will have one F, maybe. But next up we have Groot, who's definitely not an F. Groot is up there. A lot of the tanks are. I want to put him in S+. However, I think I'm just going to keep him in S for now. And here is why. So, he does good damage with his basic attacks. And then you have the big dark gray wall that gives you and your team shield when you attack near it. And he has the small walls that attack the enemy team when they are near them. And if you are playing Groot and you don't know how to place them, learn some placement spots. Learn to place it on walls above doorways, place it around corners, put it in spots that the enemy team have to go out of their way to destroy it, but will still take damage from it when they aren't paying attention. And he's great on domination game modes, especially because of how the team ends up fighting in the circle. The walls will just do so much damage to the enemies in that circle. And when you have your ultimate, make sure you have walls placed down where you want to put it, or you place down walls after you ult. When you ult, use your seed bomb or whatever it is, your left trigger, because it makes all your walls attack and it does cluster damage. Use your walls to wall off the enemy. If there's someone like a Thor, Mr. Fantastic, that are pushing in, use the walls, put it down behind him like May Wall from Overwatch so he can't get back to his team, and it's a free pick. He's great for doing that. I love playing Groot for that reason. And he gets to team up with Rocket and Jeff, which is okay. It's cute more than anything. I really don't think it's that great. For Jeff, it's pretty good because of the defense bonus, but besides that, it's not really worth it because you just make yourself 2 targets on your back instead of just the 1. But yeah, I'm keeping Groot in S tier because he's a great character. Alright, who we got next? We got Doctor Strange. Oh, that's weird. He's already in the S+ tier. I think I'm just gonna leave him there. So Doctor Strange, easily an S+. I might be a little bit biased, but if you play him or have played against a good one, I think you'll agree with me. He has everything. He has the movement with his left bumper. He can fly up. He can attack flying characters or people on higher ground. He has his shield to block offensive ultimates like Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, or Hela, or he can just block enemy hits. His damage with his right trigger is really good, and you can mix in the shield and melee tech, which if you don't know about it, watch my Doctor Strange video. I explain it all there, and you'll understand how he's even better. His ultimate stuns the enemy team, makes it so they're just easy, free picks, especially the healers, the backline. And then the portal. The portal is insane. You can use the portal for so many things. You can portal to the objective in overtime. You can portal enemies off the map. You can portal under a Punisher turret and kill him that way. You can portal on top of the enemy team in ultimate. You can portal behind the healers. If you take your whole team behind the objective for a push, he's just great for that, if nothing else. If he only had the portal, he would still be playable. And you can't change my mind on that. If you're playing Doctor Strange, I've explained so many tips on him already, along with Thor, so if you want to play those characters better, please look at my Grandmaster tips video, because I explain how you really should play those characters there. And yeah, he's just great. Play Doctor Strange if you like him and know how to play him, because he fits into almost every single team comp. Okay, next up we have Captain America, which is an interesting one. He even just got that buff to make him a little bit better, which he definitely needed. Captain America is one of the most high skill tanks, I think. And that is because he's not the best. He works, but not crazy well. He needs to combo with someone else. Thor Captain America combo it's alright. It's cool that he gets that lightning buff. However, I don't think they do enough damage together to make that worth it. He's great for being a defensive character. I would combo him with maybe a Groot, maybe a Doctor Strange, but you need someone who can do lots of damage, some buku damage, because he can't. If you like Captain America and want to play him, learn how to use the shield throw, learn how to arc it correctly, use your bash all the time just for that extra little bit of damage, sprint, make yourself harder to hit, jump often, use the slam, and then use your ultimate to keep yourself alive and to contest. Those are the main things that make him good. And while he's okay, I think I'm going to put him in B tier along with Venom, because I think those characters go kind of hand in hand, and they're kind of almost the same character. Just as weird as that sounds. Venom and Captain America, but they play very similarly, and they have kind of the same purpose. So I'm keeping him in B tier. Next up we have Black Panther. So I like Black Panther. He's cool and he's fun to play. However, he's just kind of he works sometimes, but his damage output is not enough to make him a worthwhile DPS. to dive with. That's obviously how you have to play him, is to dive the backline of the enemy team, but you're more of a distraction, you're more tickling the healers and the DPS than you are killing them and making the fight a lot harder. But his combo is super fun. I love that he has so many of the dash through attacks, and he has the spears which do splash damage. And his ultimate is cool, but it just doesn't do damage. It really does not do any damage for being, you know, a dive character's ultimate. So for that reason, I'm putting him in B tier. He needs a buff. I hope for the Black Panther mains one day he gets that buff soon, because I want to play him. He's cool, he's fun to play. His kit is really fun, his combos are really fun, but he's just not worthwhile to have on the team. Alright, next up we have Adam Warlock. So, Warlock is, again, an off healer. He doesn't do crazy amounts of healing. However, his ultimate is insane, and his damage is pretty damn good. So, I know this is pretty quick assessment, but I'm putting him in S+, because with his ultimate, he can revive the whole team. It doesn't even have to be placed on the team. You can place it behind you and run into whoever is dying and revive them that way. It lasts long enough that you could revive someone multiple times. You can soul bond to mitigate how much damage you're taking between you and your teammates. Your healing hits between multiple people, and while it is on cooldown, and that sucks, he is an off healer for that reason, because he's not meant to be the main healer. He's meant to be supportive, revive the team when it's needed, and do that extra damage. Use your left trigger charge on him. The headshot damage on that is insane when you get that fully charged shot off. He reminds me a lot of Zenyatta from Overwatch, how he can do that crazy amount of damage with those charge shots, and then his ultimate is what makes him worthwhile, how he can revive the team. And his partner ups with Mantis and Starlord are super helpful, because they can revive themselves, and you can revive yourself with Raccoon once every life. He's a great character to have. I love having an Adam Warlock on my team that knows how to play him. I put him on S+. If you're playing against one, just target him, watch to see where he goes when he Cocoon revives. If he does, watch for the ultimate. The ultimate is hard to interrupt. You can interrupt it, but it's hard to kill him out of it in time. The best thing to do is just focus who he kills when he does it, because they come back at a percentage of their health instead of full, and it's really not that much. I think it's like 10% health. It's really not much. So it's so easy to kill people out of the ultimate. But when you do revive someone as Adam Warlock, if you revive the whole team, use your right bumper immediately to heal as many of them as you can, and mitigate soul bond and heal with them to mitigate any amount of damage they're going to take. If you like him, know how to play him, please do. People will be very pleased to have an Adam Warlock on the team. Alright, next up we got Bucky. I love Bucky. I love playing Bucky. He's so much fun. He's a really cool character. I'm putting him, I think this is going to be the first DPS S+. Here's why. So, if for nothing else, the left trigger hook is insane. When you are playing against a good Bucky, what they will do is they will play behind their tanks, and they will pull in your tanks or your healers, whoever is overextending and shouldn't be. He will pull them in, pull them behind him, and punch them into the his backline, so they're just a free pick. And then his ultimate is insane, because he can just keep getting it over and over and over. It does so much damage. Target the healers with it, obviously, or the DPS, whoever's at low health, to try to get it back immediately, and just keep doing it over and over. Just keep doing it. You know, don't kill yourself for it. Be careful not to overextend, but it's really good. You can make it work. If you can't land your shots with Bucky, don't play him. You need to still be able to land your shots. If you can, try to get a rocket on your team, because that little overdrive thing where you don't have to reload is insane. Hook in the tanks and healers, like I said, and then if you hook while you have someone, you can turn your camera to pull them even farther in, kind of like Roadhog could from Overwatch, if you're used to that at all, and then you can punch them to knock them even farther into your team. If you're getting dived, use your combo because you get shield back from your combo hits. So punch them and use your right bumper. When you are just doing damage, in general, instead of reloading, use your combos because it reloads your gun automatically. So when you run out of ammo, use your punch because it reloads your gun, or use your right bumper, the red thing, to get your ammo back. I'm putting him in S+ because his damage is insane, his usability is insane. He has a very high skill gap, but when you reach it and you meet it, he's an insane character to play. Alright, next up we got Iron Fist. So I remember everyone playing Iron Fist upon release and how insane he was, and he's still decent, but I'm putting him in C, close to B. So his damage is good, and his ultimate, it's alright. But he's gotten easier to kill now that people know how to play the game, know how to counter him. They know when to target him, when to not hit him with his deflect. They know that he's gonna go for the heal with the right bumper. He's just not that great of a character anymore. He's still fun to play. I still like to play him from time to time in a quick play match, but I don't play him in ranks. I would not play him. Alright. This might be my first F. And let me tell you why, before you get angry. Black Widow. She's a cool character, and she should be good. She can be, every so often. And once in a blue moon, she can be. However, she needs to be buffed. She needs a damage buff of some kind. She needs a bigger headshot window. Maybe something else in her cooldown to make her more worthwhile. But currently, how she stands, she's just not worth it. So, she has decent, okay movement with her sprint and her jumping up, but she has such little health, she dies so fast. Her ultimate just kind of, it doesn't do that much. And then she can't even like one shot like a 200 health character with a headshot, which is insane. She needs a damage buff. If you like to play Black Widow, stick to quick play. Do not play Black Widow in competitive. If you want to play someone that will do some good damage, play Bucky, play Winter Soldier, play someone like that, you know. But don't play Black Widow in competitive. She's not worthwhile. Okay, so next up we have Mr. Fantastic. So I decided to move Cloak and Dagger to S+, which I just realized you can't see behind my face cam. But I have Cloak and Dagger in S+. I'll give you a full, better picture of the whole thing at the end. I'll move my face cam. But I decided to move Cloak and Dagger to S+. I'll explain why in a minute here. But Mr. Fantastic, I am putting in A tier because he's good. He's really good. He's cool and he's fun to play. But he's decently easily counterable, and his ultimate is kind of one of those that just tickles the enemy team. So one of the best things about him is the fact that he can give shield to his allies, and he can do that quick dash and to do damage, and his right bumper where he gets big and deflects damage. He just cannot die in that mode. So if you're playing Mr. Fantastic, use that to keep yourself alive or to deflect certain ultimates or just lots of damage. When you use your ultimate, try and just maintain yourself on the objective to keep the team off, or stay on anyone you actually can kill. I don't think you're going to be killing a tank with his ultimate, but you can probably kill a healer or two. But he's a neat character. He's really fun to play. There's some cool tech someone found with the where you grab multiple people and smack them together with Doctor Strange's portal, where you could kill them that way. It's very, very niche thing. I don't think anyone will go for that in matches very often. But he works really well right now, and if the enemy team doesn't counter you, keep playing him. If you aren't doing anything, if you are dying more than you're getting kills every life, switch off. Alright, last but certainly not least is the Invisible Woman. And I moved my face cam down here so you guys can see the full tier list right now. But the Invisible Woman, I'm putting in S tier, almost S plus, and let me explain why. So, ultimate is insane. The amount of healing output she does with her ultimate is almost unrivaled. It's like Cloak and Dagger's ultimate, but it makes them invisible. She can push and pull with her ability to knock enemies back or pull them back in when they're trying to run away. She can ledge people with it. She can turn herself invisible with the jump and get away. Her ultimate does damage. It slows down the enemy team when they're inside of it. It's intimidating, to say the least. You can use it with so many other ultimates to hide it, like have a Hawkeye or a Punisher inside of it and have him ult, and you just can't even see where it's coming from. Doctor Strange, you can't see where it's coming from. But the reason she's not an S plus like Cloak is because she only has one move to save herself, really, and that is because she can jump away and hide in invisibility. However, she cannot heal or attack, otherwise she makes herself visible again. So if she's getting attacked by someone, she has to either get to a different spot before she makes herself visible, which makes it so the team goes without a healer for a certain amount of time, or she has to start attacking and healing again right away, which makes herself very vulnerable. She can't really heal herself, is the worst part about her, and that's why I put Cloak in S plus, because Cloak has that ability where she can, when she's in the damage form, she can make everyone invisible and invulnerable around her, and she can heal herself when she's in the heal form with that bubble move. So Cloak kind of has more opportunities to save herself, and is a better healer for that reason. But I think probably the best healer combos right now are Cloak and Adam, Adam and Invisible Woman, Luna and Adam, and Luna and Invisible Woman, or Luna and Cloak. So just any mixture of those are probably the best healer combos right now. Alright, that is all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. This is Game Mouth. It's night game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to say something. If you liked it, I appreciate a like or a subscribe or anything like that. I'm sure I have some controversial opinions in here, so if you want to disagree with me or debate me with anything in the comments, feel free. I don't mind, I respond. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.